on today's episode of Archaeological Discovery, we're looking for gold. And on this episode of the Old Iron Workshop, we're finally going to do something cool. Do some custom stuff. Ah, there we are. You beautiful little gem. So today's adventures are going to include this. So last time we went ahead and got the, well, I got the job done. You didn't really help that much. So I would say this is 99% done, other than a little fussy stuff here and there, but it is a 4-inch, 7.5 inch chop. B-pillars leaned forward about 2 inches more than it naturally would for a little more Speedy Gonzales look there. No offense to the slowpoke fans. So today's fun and enjoyment is finally going to be something worth doing. Pulling that grill off and putting that grill on. You know, this is the stock 1950 Mercury grill, which is, you know, super cool in its own right, but can't be custom with stock stuff. So we have the 52 DeSoto, the 11-tooth grill, ready to go in. This is actually pretty nice. We found this online, so it's actually in super good shape. Have the gravel pan here and all of the necessary fun. Grill is essentially the quintessential custom grill for Mercury. Yeah, it's been done a zillion times, but it looks good. That's why it's been done and done and done again, because it looks badass. So I think our first order of business is to move my stupid camera stand. Lift this thing up, yank that bumper off. I'm going to go ahead and pull the overrider off, because we're not going to need that business. And let's get started. Finally starting the slow process of moving to my new shop. So I got my trailer all loaded down with all the miscellaneous garbage everybody seems to leave around here. That's usually myself leaving the garbage around here, but we're not going to mention that. So hopefully this week I can get that out of here. Get that out of here. Oh yeah, and that black mercury over there. Nobody bought into my idea of building them a gasser out of it, even though I couldn't convince them it was going to be as awesome as can be, but you know, whatever. Now the last time I installed one of these was on my 51 Mercury, which I didn't have a gravel pan, and the grill that I bought was actually an aftermarket one that was I got off eBay, complete garbage, but I ended up making the gravel pan and mounting everything. I had to make a wooden buck and all the stuff you can see here, and got that mounted up, and of course looks bitchin'. The headlights I ended up on this one actually ended up making myself here. I made my own internal rings, which you know, worked pretty good, but you know, we're gonna try to find the correct ones. So I say we get this thing up in the air, get that bumper off, and get cranking. Man, this is such a nice car underneath. Alright, so first order of business is to get these brackets off so I can get this pan off. Now in the 1950 Mercuries, they have this gravel pan that comes all the way down, which is the only model I've ever seen them do that. Which is quite interesting, but I don't understand the purpose of it. I'm sure it was for some reason, but we're actually going to take the bumper off. Take the bumper off and lower it down. Oh, maybe inch and a half or so. I have to play with it a little bit to see where I like it. Then behind this here, there's a big hole we got to weld up for the blinker. So a few things. Right. Come over here with me. All right. So that's what I'm talking about with the big old She got the big fat lip. So, let me go ahead and unbolt that. On my 51, it was different, so I don't recall. Plus, it was like 10 years ago, so it's been a minute. Alrighty. Let's get that stuff off, that stuff off, that stuff off. Screws were all broke on the inside, so that took a little longer than anticipated. Step one. That does not come off yet. That doesn't look good. I guess she's not a virgin after all. Alrighty. Like wings. Alright. Let's go take a look. Alrighty, so we can see that the pan is actually wider than the Merc. Hell, DeSoto must be as wide as can be. But so we're going to use all of this area. So I think I get some paper, make a template of all of that, transfer to this because I'm going to cut off this area here, and then we'll start fitting from that point on. I'm not real sure if I have to add metal, but it looks like I can just somewhere in that area, so we'll see. And then at some point you got to weld all this up. There appears to be Bondo here, so somebody's done something. I don't know what the hell's going on here. Looks like somebody drilled a hole with a drill bit. But we'll get there. No big deal. No big deal. So I got a little care package in the mail from Baxter's Down South Customs. He's got another YouTube channel on here. I'll put a link in there. You should give him a follow. But he sent me these little baby magnets, which is great for this type of stuff here. He also sent a nice quart of peach moonshine, which we christened at the new house. But this is a family channel, so I didn't bother drinking it on camera, you know. Gotta keep things G-rated around here. But yeah, look at these little things. These are nice. Smart take magnets. I'm sure they'll be lost by the end of the week, though. But yeah, Baxter has a pipe anvil that he came up with, which was, you know, stolen from my idea. I'm sure of it, but he's got a much better design than I've got. So once I move into my new shop, I'm going to go ahead and, of course, plagiarize it for my own goods. You know, use my powers for evil. He also has a pretty cool 40 Merc he's working on, so definitely worth checking out. right, now that we've got a usable pattern, go ahead and transfer this over here. Over here on my makeshift workbench. All right, so you can see how much wider this thing is. So it needs to be trimmed through this area here on both sides. And I think that will be fine. Yeah, so if I just trim that, and now mind you, it'll change a little bit because of the curve here, so I'm going to cut it a little bit long and I'll just sneak up onto it until it fits just right. And then go from there. I might weld a 90 on here so I can actually bolt this on as opposed to welding it. I don't know, we'll see. The day is young, so I'm not making any permanent plans. Or promises anyhow. Yeah, if that was to go there, then we could bolt it here and get rid of this in its entirety, which appears to be full of Bondo, like everything else. Oh, had a slight discrepancy. We'll notice that we have 11 teeth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11. However, the pan only has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, which means those teeth don't go with that grill pan. So this is a 51 and that's a 52, or that's 52 and this is 53. Whatever the math works out in, something's different, which I'm pretty sure I can just, this is the middle guy here. I'm sure I can just drill another hole here, which would be this guy. Should fit the same, so I don't think it's gonna like not work. So yeah, so just like that. It's gonna be delicious, just delicious. Let's play with this guy. So yeah, we want it to land just about yonder. So let's go back over here. Okie doke, that'll work. So just using these center holes here as the center, obviously, then line up my pattern and we'll be good to start mowing and going. There's some of these little baby magnets. Love these things. So then I think I'm going to trim it off here. Then I'll just make a filler piece for all this. However, it's going to tie into the fender. So that way I can make a filler piece for however it ties into the front quarter panel. I think it'll be a little easier to manage. Guess I better put some effort into cleaning up my workbench. All right, that's the beginning of something. So I'll just start sneaking it in a little bit here until, oh, I don't know, stop somewhere. Figure I can put that corner up in here maybe. We mount a tooth there. See where it sits with the grill. Gotta have the tooths. She got that dentabite there. Alrighty, so how far in do I want that tooth is the question. So let me get the end tooth. Right there. Yeah, so that one's got to go in because it sticks out too far. I don't want that. All right, so if we bring it all in, I'm about 1.25 inches, so then I'll just start sneaking this in here. That'll go in and push this in just a hair. And I think we're going to be just about right. Yeah, because another inch will be there. So I want to have the back side of that hidden by the lip, but not in too far. So we're getting there. We're getting there. Alrighty, a little more hack and slash. And I think I'm liking where the tooth sits there. Tooth sits there. Kind of wondering what I want to do with this here. So I'm gonna get rid of all this. We don't need it. She got a big fat lip. She got she must have that collagen implant, I guess, because that's pretty much what I see when I see girls with that. But we'll go ahead and because I need to retain this section here because it curves with the fender. So I'm thinking maybe I'll keep trimming, get it tight, and just snug it off here and weld this directly to that, weld this to that, and this into the fender there is what I'm off the cuff thinking. Or I could weld a flange on this side so it would bolt to the inside of here, and this would weld to this, and then the whole thing would unbolt in one piece, which I kind of like that idea better. By the way, I got to get rid of that. Weld it up. It's all full of Bondo anyway, so it'll be fun to strip. Well, because no other alternative is to weld it solid, which means you're welding essentially the entire front clip together, which I'm not a big fan of. But you know, the ability to take apart I think is good. You know, if the paint and body guy wants to weld it in, then maybe, you know, another story. But it kind of doesn't make a lot of sense to me, because you're talking about welding this piece in, which now joins the fenders totally, so you have to pull the entire front clip off in one shot to get the thing apart, which, you know, can't say I'm 100% opposed to, but I don't necessarily like it. I don't know, I'm just going to keep digging, we'll see what happens. Need that. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut the center out here, leave the sides for the time being until I fit everything kind of where I want, and then we'll go from there. I don't want to do too much. Plus the bolts, they don't want to come out. Look at these cool pins that Baxter sent me. Look at a long tip on it. I've never seen this before. These are like magical. They got some weird, I don't know, foreign writing, probably Canadian, but I don't know. But this is the best. Way better than a Sharpie. appear that somebody has brazed some brass in right here. Must be a previous repair, obviously. So let me find my saw. That worked. Yeah, that works. Plus I got a war wound. Wonderful. But we are finding some previous repairs here. Now all your lies are coming to the surface there. Also, that there is black paint, which tells me that must have been the original color. And there appears to be a rust hole here. And some body filler. Oh, she's dirty. She's a dirty one. So let's try fitting that thing back up and give it another whirl here. Me lucky. Right on, beautiful. And ta-da! I like that. That is perfect placement. So, all right. All right, so need to address what to do here. So I'm thinking I'll just weld this to here. Oh, gets worse. We found gold in them hills. Look at that. Gotta love brass. Brass monkey. Oh yeah. Well, that escalated quickly. I was hoping quick and easy. Won't be a big deal. That's of course not going to be the case. So, ready to bring out the big guns. So as they say, one man's trash, another man's treasure. She got a lot of gold in her. Well, it is what it is. This one's not nearly as bad. It's had this weird goofy patch here. Down here on the lip. But it is better on the other side. This side is like an old quilt. So I mean, judging by the brass here, I mean, I'm gonna imagine this thing is probably repaired 70s, maybe early 80s. I mean, by that time we were using a MIG welder at least. Although, you know, never know. Never know the history of anything. But it's really not that bad in the grand scheme of things. The entire panel has to get replaced regardless in order to fit the grill. Well, I guess not technically fit the grill, but we need to get rid of the blinker anyway because you see it sticks out. So pretty much all of this area we'll get a new piece regardless. So it's just a little bit larger than it was. So really not earth-shattering, but kind of funny none the least. You know, whenever you do the archaeological dig here, it's you never know what you're gonna find, like King Tut's tomb and just a bunch of dirty lies. So let's press on. So next I think is to get these cleaned up and trim them down a little bit because it's a little heavy at the moment here. Clean this edge up, trim off what's left of that lip that we don't need. Same on this side, and then weld it so it's all one piece to the fender. And we'll go from there. Just one little chunk at a time. Well, alrighty, so screwing on with this thing for the last couple hours, trying to get all the bolts out all the way around here has been loads and loads of joy. Because surprisingly, they didn't want to come out. So, my master plan, which has now been foiled because this thing is all hot glued together, was to disassemble all this because there should be a seam here to hold this piece to this piece, which, you know, clearly that's not the case any longer. But I was going to unbolt all this, pull this forward because you'll notice that it doesn't fit right here very well. It's got like a lip on it, and that'd be the same for the hood. So I need to pull this whole thing out. So now I have to kind of figure out how to do that without causing myself more pain and agony. So that's where I'm at the moment here, because I wanted to pull all this off and clean all this off, cut off that lip on the inside of the weldet so it's a nice seam, but I gotta get rid of all this first. So the process has become just a wee bit more complex. So we're gonna keep chugging through here. Well, actually not right now, because it's date night, I'm gonna go drinking. And then tomorrow we'll play with this thing, if I'm not hungover. But figure I'll cut it here, cut that out there, get rid of all that. This is definitely not what I was planning on. I had originally had planned on just, you know, simple little, but no. Nope. Every 5-minute job, you know, like they say. 17 years and $47,000 for completion. That's about right. Yeah, you can see all the multitude of patches there. That'd be a little wall hanger. Put that up here somewhere. Or throw it on the ground. Well, all right, so went through all that just so I can cut this lip off, because I'm going to weld it all together, but I don't want to leave this lip there because it will be a moisture trap. So I'm going to trim it off of here, trim it off on the fender, and weld it all back together. First, I'm going to close the hood and make sure all the fenders and the gaps are lined up prior to making this thing permanent, because once it's welded in, it don't move. All right, so our gap is looking nice and consistent. I mean, it's consistent, it's gonna look with rubbers all wore out, but it's a little tight over here, so I think I can adjust this whole side here. So there's screws here that I can undo and actually move the whole thing over. So I'm gonna do that real quick and we'll be good to go. So I just got a little body shim I'm gonna throw in there, tighten it back down, bada bing, done. Sounds so easy, right? Yeah, not as easy as it sounds. All right, that gap is looking where I want it. Matches the other side. Corner here is a little weird, but we're gonna round this out anyways, it doesn't matter. So we'll fix that then. Looks better already. I do like this though. Keep that there. Alrighty, so now it's just a matter of fitting it up, line all this up here, and then tacking it. And I'll do that with the MIG and then chase back behind and TIG weld it all, make it all pretty. And then we'll start the patch panel. All right. Let's try that again. All right, that didn't turn out too bad. So now let's go ahead and fill this large orifice here. There we go. All right, that'll work. Let's go. Yeah, so this is a relatively simple panel, so maybe I'll use the maybe I'll use a pipe anvil. Maybe I won't. Gonna make a little pattern. This is just a piece of angle that I'm going to bend to get that shape. So that way I can mount up, well, we'll see what happens. Might be a waste of time. No reason to explain it. Almost there. All right, so it gives me a little something to work with here. So I'll trim this back, clamp it in place, and then do one for the other side. Then I think I'll start fitting up the grill pan before I get too far along. Put all the pieces together before I weld everything solid. Gotta think ahead. Alrighty, so got that guy done. I also added these ones. Currently they're just screwed on there, so that way I can hold the grill panel in place, kind of clamp it up there or screw it in place. Make sure everything's going to be where I want it to be. Oh, made some use of the camera stand. So now we are sitting here just about 3/8 to a 1/2 inch And that bottom lip, it is level, at least within 1 degree. It's a hair of a tweak. The ends light up with my little brackets here. So I think it's about time to, well, I don't know. Because I'm going to have to go in here and weld all this. I'm still going to make this. So working out some plans here. But that's going to be tomorrow because I'm going to go over to Josh's and play hot rod. He's putting his Model A body on his chassis for the final and last time. So we want to go over there and play hot rod like boys should do. So.
Hold from here and like keep your fingers tight on the sides so it doesn't come down on your fingers. You good? Everybody good? Or yeah? So glad y'all are here. Speak up. I'm good. Let's go. All right. It ain't heavy. Hold on. Hold on. All right. All right. Start to come down. Start to come down. Forward just a hair. All right. Back down in the back. Hold on. You down in the back?
Yeah, we're down. Yeah, but I know I'm off. We're probably a little crooked.
Yeah. Check underneath and see what's going on there, please.
Hold on.
You're definitely crooked.
Yeah, I know that.
That's the frame.
What
do you need?
I'm pretty much over my
He's on the back there too. I don't see where
Okay, you start to come down?
Yeah, we're on the bolt holes.
All right, start to come down in front. Come to me in here.
I see we were a little
Garage
All right,
level.
and now I gotta get these in the front. That don't look right.
Hold on, underneath that rag, dude, or what?
All right, lift up in the front, please. All right. Okay, hold on. Hold on. All right, come down slowly. There's another, oh, pick it back up real quick. Yep, sorry. All right, come back down. All right, that's good enough for now. Can you hand me that block of wood that's down on the floor there? In that shim? All right, then just pick up on that side. All right, whoa. All right, that's good. All right, come on down. All right, that's close enough. Should be anyway. Something don't look right.
It's a nice
I think it's gonna start pushing bolts and holes.
Yeah, it looks to me looks like the garage is the floor's not level.
Yeah. Okay. Let me check the back.
You got the glue?
All right. Sweet.
Yeah, some super glue.
Yeah.
Glue the car together.
One glue,
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll deal with bolts and centering the chassis later. All right. Let's heat up some food.
Well, look at that. You got a hot rod.
Yeah. Instant hot rod.